always have to do a few little minor last minute adjustments. Yes, I know my color's going to be off. I'm using um, it's an LED light bulb in a single fixture, although the room light is right above me and it casts kind of a greenish red. That's really weird. Anyway, so I'm going to look a little strange. Hello, everyone, as you come in. Lost Generations, that's an interesting name. That's good. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Yeah, I know I've been gone off the live streams for a little bit. I've been busy, as some of you may know. We'll wait for a minute and let everybody who wants to come on in here. I'm hoping I don't walk over Monty's live streams. I don't think he usually does them on Sundays, but you never know with all the things that are going on. Hello, Miss Cat. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Now, I am on my phone. I need a drink. Who was that said that? I need a drink, Mary? Yeah. Yeah, me too. I plan on having a dram of scotch here after this. I didn't want to be it's been a pretty rough few days, so I'm afraid that if I imbibe here even a dram during our live stream here, I might not be as coherent as I would like to be, as I could actually go to sleep right now. So I won't. But anyway, as most of you know, I've been kind of busy. I received a request, several requests actually, because I've written several books, but the one that is of the most interest right now is The Crimson Thread, The Struggle to Become Jesus During the Revolt Against Rome, which is about the events in the first century at the time that Christianity came around. And of course, the big thing is the fight over the Palestine area, the Judean area, because it's the crossroads for all of the trade routes. And so the Romans were interested, the Greeks were interested. The wars have been there since time immemorial, and it definitely affected the situation as far as how Christianity came about, and that's what the book is about. As I've told everybody many times, it is not a rehash of the Old Testament. If you've got the book, it's out of print. And if you're going to read it, understand that I'm not trying to rehash the New Testament and give a second New Testament. That's not its purpose. Its purpose is fictionalized romance based upon historical evidence that's available. Anyway, so because the book has been out of print, a lot of folks have been saying, "Hey, can we get the book? Could you put it online? Could you make it available to download?" Or and then one person said, "Well, would you mind doing an audio? Just read it to us." And so, as some of you might know, I haven't been posting much of anything else. I've been posting up the readings of the Crimson Thread, and I just finished recording chapter 12. It will be uploaded tonight. So hence I'm taking this opportunity here right now to talk to you folks while I've got a chance. Yeah, Washington State governor's threatening. Yeah, this is all nonsense, of course, and we're going to talk a little bit about that stage too. These people are absolutely insane, but it's because they want to kill you. You know that, and we can't really talk straightforwardly about these things, and you know that that's the case. Especially right now, I want to get these last two videos, 12, 13, and 14. It's 14 chapters. I'm putting up number 12 now, and then we'll put up 13 and 14 probably tomorrow. And then, of course, it'll be carried over onto Odyssey and LBRY, and then if they take me down for some reason here on YouTube, at least I'll have those up. I can post them direct to the Odyssey, but then I have to change the way I do it, and I really kind of like the way they're working right now. So at any rate, so I was asked to do that, and that's what I've been up to. It's not that I haven't been keeping track as best I can of what's happening. Nancy Morgan Hart and Monograph and High Impact TV, and I see they took James Corbett down. The war on truth and logic and reason is well underway. So I am aware of these things that are going on. As I said, we'll talk about a few of those while number 12 is uploading right now. And so anyway, that's what I've been doing, and it's it's been a little tougher than I thought. I'm a pretty good reader. I read very fast and comprehend a lot, but when you're narrating, when you're reading a script, you should practice it. I don't know how Nancy does her stuff, but you know, I should probably read like let's say uh, several pages first to make sure I know where I'm going with it, so that I can enunciate correctly and then narrate it correctly. But I've been doing it in a rush just to get it up, and so sometimes I do these run-on sentences that go on for minutes, and then you say, well, who's talking there and who's talking there? I know, of course, but you may not. But I think the information is still getting out, which is really the point of the book, and it's going to disturb a lot of people, as I said. But I should be finished. All chapters should be uploaded by this time tomorrow night, and I'm planning on, as requested, to have a live stream where we can discuss the information. It's not just going to be spiritual, it'll be historical, it'll be political, it'll even get into some medical things. And we're going to have to be careful again how we talk, but at least I will. But we'll do that probably sometime next weekend, I'm thinking, but we'll see. Anyway, also, the individual that has been really pushing me to do this audio reading of the book has also been making a website, and I understand that he has completed that now and that it's about ready to go live. And there will be a copy, my understanding is, there will be a copy of my first edition manuscript on that. And I will post it here on YouTube when it comes out, or on Twitter, or on LBRY, depending upon what's still up available to me and what isn't. But there will be that first edition manuscript. Now, it's the manuscript, it's not the final proof that was made to make the book. It's not the final proof, it's the manuscript. So there's still some errors in it. He asked me if I wanted to fix those, and I said no. And the reason is because the manuscript is on file along with the proof and the book itself with the government and with copyright organizations, so that everybody knows it's mine. And so any changes that I would make to the manuscript would probably not be a good idea. So you'll see some errors in it, but uh, the basic ideas will come across, and it's free. I mean, you're not having to buy the book, so because you can't, it's out of print unless you get a used one, and the used ones are going for, man, I've seen them as high as $300, which is crazy. But that's book collectors like those kinds of things. So at any rate, that'll be available to you all, and then we can talk a little bit more. And again, it's taken from a historical perspective. If you want to see miracles and raising of the dead and things like that, you're not going to see it. Okay, I just tell you up front, that's not what this is about. If you want to read about that, you can go into the New Testament. I focused in on the things that I could historically verify, and even that you sometimes can't. So that's where the fictionalized romance comes in to fill in so that the story can flow. But at any rate, it gives you a really good insight into what was actually happening in the first century. And what I put up yesterday on the 10th of April, which was really funny, it went up on the 10th of April. It was chapter 10, which in my estimation is the most important chapter in the book, because it shows, even though it was alluded to in some of the other chapters as it was going along, you get a really good flavor for how the Hecalote, which I've talked about frequently, which was the spiritual system of the prophets, how they prophesied, how they wrote the scriptures, those types of things. I go into some of the mechanics of the Hecalote in chapter 10, and you get to see how Jesus operated with that, and how he became aware of who he was and what he was supposed to do. Uh, it's not like, in my estimation, it wasn't like he was born and he knew everything that he was going to do and perfect knowledge of everything and all that. He went through a process, and that process was helped along significantly by the prophetic method of the Hecalote, which means chambers. And I also show how the early forms of Kabbalah which are not like the Aleister Crowley stuff or the 14th century or Madonna or anything like that. It's talking about using the letters and the words to help you to interpret the scripture, not men's ideas. Okay, you can take it right out of the text, but you have to use the original language. And I attribute the creation, the development of that early Kabbalah to Jesus himself and one of his mystical disciples by the name of Nehunya, and you'll see that in the story. I do believe that he was the one that pioneered this because he knew that the destruction of the second temple was coming along, and they couldn't use the instruments of Moses or the purifying ashes of the red heifer and some other things so that they could continue to use Hecalote. So he developed this new system, and you'll see how that kind of works in there. It's not complete, but I attribute it to Jesus that system was developed by him in his lifetime. So I think if probably, frankly, if you don't want to read anything else in the book, you should read at least the introduction, the prologue, and chapter 10. At the very minimum, if that's all you can do, that's all you're interested in, chapter or the introduction gives you basically an historical lecture about why things happened the way they did in the first century and how it impacted our situation today, how the Roman Empire has fashioned us even today. Then the prologue kind of sets up the story so that you know what's going on. It's only a couple, 3 pages. And then chapter 10 gets into the Hecalote, which pushed the Messianic movement to the situation that occurred all throughout the first and even the second centuries. So again, those are the ones, if you don't want to read anything else, at least read the introduction, the prologue, and chapter 10. We will take some time and discuss the Hecalote after people get a chance to read either the entire book or those 3 that I just mentioned, the introduction, prologue, and Hecalote in chapter 10. We will discuss the Hecalote in some detail. I do not use the divine names that I only mention that they exist. I don't mention them. I won't mention them here, and I won't mention them in the book, and I won't mention them in the movie. In the movie, when I made that, you did hear names like El Shaddai, El Elyon, but those are pretty much in the scriptures and are even though they are some of the divine names, they're not a problem with talking about them really. So like El Elyon just means the Most High God, is basically what it means. El Shaddai means the mighty God. And of course you all know about the 4-letter tetragrammaton and things like that. So at any rate, we'll get to that business down the road. But I do want to thank the person who's the gentleman who is putting this together on the website. I would never have done it. I just had no interest in going any further with it. Yeah, I made a movie. It's on here. I've actually made 3 movies and several documentaries. Um, I'm not a professional movie maker, but and it's a little rough. I'll give you a little background. You can see it's called The Crimson Thread. Hi Roosevelt, how you doing? You can see the Crimson Thread movie. It's on my website under playlists, under movies and documentaries. You can go there, and it's not the final one that I submitted to a film festival back in 2009, but it's pretty close. It's missing a couple of scenes, but you can watch that movie. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, and it'll give you an idea of what the book is like. Of course, the movies are never like the book. I mean, that's just the way it is. But you can see it on here. Go to the playlist, go to movies and documentaries, and you can see the Crimson Thread there. By the way, all the music is mine. All of it was done by me. I wrote it, I performed it, all of that. All the music on my videos is my own. So anyway, for what it's worth. But yeah, I did that. I found out how movie making is difficult. The biggest problem, as always, are people. Personnel is always the problem. The technical aspects I pretty well mastered. I had a few problems with the green screen and the blue screen, primarily because the computer I had was not a really good platform for the editing software that I was using. But at any rate, it's there. You can watch it. And then I did a couple of other movies. I did Loneliness, about losing a loved one, and I also did uh, Santa Finds His Elves, which I don't think is on the. I don't think it's on the playlist. It could be. I don't remember, but I don't think so. But Loneliness is, and um, the Crimson Thread is. And then there's some documentaries which you should know. I did um, Borders, Mexican Drug War, or Insurgency, which I did in 2011 and predicted all of this that were happening today and gave how to handle it. And nobody wanted to talk about it because it was politically incorrect. Then there's homeless camps, which is about homeless camps all around the country in 2011, but primarily how vets were involved in some of that too, some of the homeless vets that were involved. So, at any rate, you can go watch those if you like and enjoy. Pastor Chuck Baldwin, what? Pastor Chuck Baldwin, YouTube was removed. Oh, man. Oh, you're kidding me. Ah. It's a war, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I say I am I'm more than happy to talk openly, but I want to get these last two chapters up because of the requests that have been made, and so I'm going to guard my speech until. I mean, technically, with what I put up in the past, they already took down one or two videos, maybe more. They could cancel my whole channel any day, you know. So, but I'd like to get these up so that the format that I would like, which I can upload to YouTube, will carry on over to Odyssey and LBRY. So I'll just watch my vernacular here for just a few more days. I'm really sorry to hear that they took. Pastor Baldwin is. I have so much respect for him. He's one of the few pastors in the country that I just find he just says it like it is, and his understanding of the scriptures and the history, which is very important, is very good. Oh, you lost Renee. You lost your only son in 2020. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, yeah. Just so you know, there's no way anyone can feel a person's loss, especially a child. But just so you know, I did lose a daughter. She drowned in an accident in 2000, actually 1999. Um, she was out on a recreational trip and drowned in the river. So I understand the feeling. Okay, and of course I lost my wife to cancer, which was probably due to her being attacked when I was overseas. I've talked about that. I don't want to get into it here tonight. But at any rate, so yes, things are very bad. Now they've taken Chuck Baldwin down, they've taken James Corbett. There are no voices of dissent or opposition that they're going to leave up. And that's even dangerous for me to say here, but it's obvious it's a war. They don't want any conflicting opinions. That's Satan's kingdom, by the way. God's not afraid of of logical argument. As a matter of fact, in Isaiah, he says, "Come and let us reason together as one man reasons with another." So God isn't afraid, and good people aren't afraid of discussing and having different opinions. But Satan and the evil ones are, because they don't want any opposition to stand in their way to their evil designs. We see what they're doing in Canada to the churches. All right, we see how Biden's going after the Bill of Rights, saying that no amendment, no Bill of Rights amendment is, what's the word he used? Um, Maybe somebody can help me out there. He says no Bill of Rights amendment is absolute. That's what he said, is absolute. And that's absolutely 100% wrong. Thank you, Carol Reed. A lot of people have gone through that. A lot of people, I eventually everybody loses somebody. Eventually everybody does. So we have no friends in government. Nobody's standing up. Uh, the Republicans didn't do anything when they had the chance. Everything was against. Okay, great, great. So you found it. Okay, good. It looks like somebody found the website that it's live. So when I get that information, I haven't had time to check on it today. I'll check on it and then I'll put it up so everybody can see it. Okay, then you'll have access to it. But yeah, like I said, I kind of hope you listen to the audio at least for the three things I said because man, this has been a lot of work. I've gone hoarse several days. Oh, I've cussed like a sailor. A couple times I forgot to do some technical things and it didn't record right. No, man, it's been. But last couple I've tried to be a little more gracious in some ways. I've shown pictures of mountains, of ponds, of river, things like that, just to give you something else to look at besides my mug. So hopefully, hopefully that'll make some of it a little bit better. So anyway, I'll make contact with the person who has been working on this thing, and then I'll come back up on a live stream and give you the link for it all so that you all can see. It'll probably be tomorrow when I do that. But they're at war with us, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of the states have now not reneged on the face coverings and the GMIs, but they've backed off a lot of it. And actually, I went to a couple of places today, finally, where we could walk. Well, I always have, and caused a bunch of ire and and discussion behind my back, and a few people confronting me face to face. But now in Utah and Wyoming, they're pretty much backed off completely, with the exception of servers in restaurants, and that they say that's probably going to be dropped in about a week. But they're going to come back. You know that they're getting ready to hit us with another scam, right? You know they are. Uh, and those old 007 movies, right? And secret agent movies about going after the mad scientists before they destroy the world. And the governments are so good. You got MI5 and MI6, and you got the CIA and the FBI, and they're all out there going after the mad scientists who are trying to destroy the world. And now we find out that they're actually helping the mad scientists destroy the world. Life means nothing to them, and they do want to change us. They want to change us so that then they can murder us because they've changed us. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, what's happening down in the Caribbean is pretty bad. Nancy Morgan Hart did a very good short video. She's very succinct. She can say it and get it all done in 3 minutes. It takes me, half an hour. But yeah, she's put it up about pyroclast disaster down there, and the fact that they're requiring everybody who wants to escape to get the GMI. I mean, oh come on, spare me. It's a war, ladies and gentlemen. It's the war on mankind, just like I've called it all along. It's a war on mankind. What's this? Did you hear about the yes? Getting hold on. Hoffman out in the mix. Yeah, yeah. Well, this whole thing is a disaster. When they put, I'll be honest, when they put that general in charge, I'm not even going to say his name. When they put that general in charge of the distribution of this thing back in October, I went, oh boy, oh boy. Nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me at all. Yeah. Yeah, the missing, and I need to. The problem is, the missing said he or she would like me to do more live streams so that we can have an interaction with the chat. That's really what live streaming is all about, and I really like it for that reason. Yeah, Liza Jean. Hi, Liza Jean. How you doing? Yes, Canada keeps getting worse, as does the UK. Yes, absolutely. They're trying to take us to war with Russia and the Ukraine so that we're not thinking about China while China grabs Hong Kong and Taiwan and all of this other stuff that's going on. I mean, all of this is to make it so that it drives you crazy, and you finally just throw up your hands. Yes, Liza Jean, it's great to see you. So anyway, the live streams are like target practice, Mr. Cox. Do I drink raw milk? I don't drink milk at all, and if you lived with me, you would be very appreciative that I don't drink any kind of milk. I have a lactose intolerance, so no, I try not to. And I have a great weakness for ice cream, but I don't dare eat it uh, because people will suffer. I could have been used as a secret uh, uh, gas weapon if they had harnessed all of that after feeding me ice cream. So no, but I do like it. Yeah, I drink coffee. Yes, I do, and I usually have a flavored coffee, like I like the caramel cream. I don't like to add creamer, but if I can't get and I like plain Colombian coffee, for instance, but it helps to have a little buffer, in it, of course. So I'll do that. Anyway, getting back to live streams. Yes, I do like the interaction, but the problem is that we can't speak freely. Even Monty, whose mantra is, if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Guess what? He can't speak freely because they'll cancel him out or do whatever else. He has to throw stuff onto private when he gets out of hand because he knows they'll take him down. And frankly, and he knows this, they could still get him for putting it on private. Eat 12 quarts of ice cream and point your posterior towards. Who said that? Jack Kennedy. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. Uh, in the army, I used to punish some of my people by doing that. But I won't talk about it in any great degree. I Yeah, I better not. Now then they know who did it, even today. Why is America over there anyway? Oh, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. That's the problem. We were supposed to mind our own business and be the light of liberty. And a lot of people get upset with that, saying, "Oh, that's a Masonic thing. You need to be subject to a king." Well, I don't think God's that insecure that He would demand that. Even though I mention it in my book, for instance, in the Crimson Thread, and I understand the scriptural part of it. Uh, there's no doubt that the United States was founded by a group of Masons. There's no doubt about that. But it wasn't just the Masons. There were others too. Um, but it is a little disturbing when you see the Statue of Liberty and you find out that it's really the god Isis or maybe even Lucifer, um, Semiris, and you see the Masonic symbols with the stars and the moon and things like that around it. And I've known about that for a long time. Uh, the United States America has been a, a disappointment. Uh, the scriptures talk about the rights of men, and which is one reason why the Bill of Rights were put into the Constitution. The problem is that they knew when they were making the Constitution that it really had no teeth to enforce the rules against the tyrants. It really doesn't have any teeth in it to enforce anything against the tyrants. So, as I often said, and not only in some earlier books, but in different interviews and things that I've done, uh, the Constitution just has no teeth to ensure that the leaders who promise to be the stewards over our rights, not the givers of them, but the protectors of them and the stewards of them, when they don't do that, they should suffer severely for it. And there was nothing put in there for that. Supposedly the three branches would balance each other out, but of course, as you all know, yeah, multiculturalism was all part. All of that. That's all sociology. That's all socialism, communism, all of those things. They know that no society in history has ever worked as a multicultural society. None. Not very long. The ones that have tried it the most often have been the democracies, and they don't last more than a couple hundred years because you can't do it. It's Some people just can't do it. You can't live together, and that might sound unchristlike, but the fact of the matter is, you know, if you really understood what was going on in the first century, uh, Jesus wasn't multicultural. He was very, very xenophobic for the people of Israel. Not even really so much Judea and Judah, but Israel as a whole. He was very xenophobic, and there's a reason for that, because you can only gather so far. Look how they're using multiculturalism to destroy our country now. They're pitting one group against another. I admit they shouldn't have they shouldn't have started slavery here. It shouldn't have been something that happened right from the get go. But it was already there when our forefathers had to deal with it, and it was a tough deal. It was a tough deal. England had permitted it. There had been the Islamic nations that were big slave traders in Africa, even to the point where they were grabbing American sailors, which started uh, the war that Jefferson had to fight against, the landing in Tripoli and all of that, which the Marine Corps celebrates. By our Constitution, they can be removed legally. Yeah, but it takes too much time. The three branches of government uh, weren't. They got together. The three branches of government got together and made basically an unwritten pact saying that they'd protect each other in their corruption. The last bulwark of liberty is the people themselves. But you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to disarm you. They're taking away your First Amendment so you can't dissent, right? They force you to get licenses. None of this is in the Constitution, not at the federal level, but they've all agreed to go forward to enslave us. And the people are the final arbiters of their freedom and their liberty. But look what they've done. The FBI infiltrates any group of people that try to get together to stand up for their freedoms. The FBI infiltrates them and says that they're domestic terrorists or criminals at least. And you all know the history. That's why I say, we've got to pull away from this whole thing. It's too late to fix it. Jeremiah even explained, I told you about that, Jeremiah chapter 30. It's too late. There's no way to fix it. And so we just have to pull back. I saw that Ammon Bundy, he was arrested twice on this whole mask deal. One for not wearing it, and then getting in trouble for not coming to court with one. So they got him for failure to appear. And he's worn out. The poor guy he's been out there pushing and doing everything he can for many years. I've been at it since, 1979 at the very minimum. I haven't suffered like he has because he's really gone out, well, in a different way. But, Ammon's tired, and it's understandable. So I saw where he said, am I insane? Why am I doing this? I keep standing up for you people, and nobody's standing up with me, not in the numbers that are needed. The whole nation should be up in arms, literally, right now. And they're not. I see, you saw if you have Twitter, you saw what I put up the other day. This guy came into breakfast where I was. He's wearing a mask and gloves. Okay, he's wearing a mask and gloves. He comes in from his car like that. He comes in and he sits down. Remember, these gloves and that mask, they've been everywhere. He's touched door handles with those gloves. He's probably wiped his butt with those gloves on, right? You get my point? He eats with his gloves on. No kidding. And he has his mask on and he's pulling it out and feeding himself underneath it with his gloves that he's touched everything in God's creation with. You can't do this. When people are told to do something medical, they have to do it under the direction and the help and the instructions of their own medical doctor. This crap, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this now. Remember, I got to get these last two vids up. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So anyway, I told Ammon Bundy, he had this tweet on Twitter, and I know Ammon. I've met him. I saw him at Bundy Ranch and a few other times, and I wrote back to him and I said, Ammon, you've done everything. And, how long did Jonah yell at Nineveh? How often do the prophets call the people to repentance? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But at some point, you can't keep beating your head against the wall. So I told him, you know what, Ammon, and I'm telling it to you folks too, okay? I'm not telling you you can't speak up. Obviously, I still am to some extent. But it's time. The ark that you've built, whatever you've been able to put together, the ark that you've built to help you to get through this thing, the ark that you've built, it's time to go in. It's time to go into your ark. And I told Ammon this. It's time to go into your ark and let God shut the door behind you. Because there's no saving this now. There's no saving it. And it's a tragedy. It saddens me to the point where I want to bust out crying sometimes. Actually, quite often. Yeah, Ammon has tolerated more physical abuse than the average person could. I'd say that, he's right up there with Gandhi. He's right up there with Gandhi. He's right up there even with Jesus in a lot of ways. Yeah, he's suffered a lot. At least John the Baptist getting thrown in prison, I mean, at least that. Yeah, Finest Planet, how you doing? So let's see if I can interact with some of you here tonight. I need to do a little bit of this. So wait till people find out about the lying history of the Bible. Um, it's a really hard thing for me to explain. Let me just tell you, okay? Um, the lessons that are written in the Bible are good lessons. There are some that are a problem, and some of you know that I know that. But it is a good. I mean, if you have a choice, hi Felicia, how you doing? If you have a choice between reading Shakespeare, I'm just using an example, or reading Isaiah, I suggest you read Isaiah. Okay, the Tanakh, the Old Testament. The Tanakh stands for Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. The Torah being the first 5 books of the Bible, you probably know as the Pentateuch. The Nevi'im are the prophets like Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and then the Ketuvim are like Psalms, Song of Solomon, stuff like that. So the Tanakh as a whole is very, very good. The New Testament has some severe problems. I mean, severe problems. I pointed a few of those out. A lot of people say, well, if you lose faith in the scriptures and if you destroy people's faith in the scriptures, that's wrong because you shouldn't be questioning something because you weren't there. No, that's why I'm questioning it. It's because I wasn't there. Okay, and I'm going to try to find out what the truth of the matter is, and it's not easy. Uh, there are certain things that I know for a fact. One is that Jesus would never have never have said to violate any of the Torah. Not a possibility. Not a possibility in hell. Okay? So I knew that was a problem. I also recognized that there was a problem between, and somebody just mentioned it, Pauline, what would be considered Pauline Christianity and Jamesian Christianity. They're almost entirely different. And I recognize that those things were there. And so there are some problems in the New Testament. Remember, Rome won the war. And so they're not going to let things be written that would cause them difficulties. Not saying that there's not a lot of good, most of the New Testament's very good, but you have to know how to rightly divide it and understand what's going on. Yeah, talking about that, TMK all the way. My unsubscribed. Bye. Sorry. Too bad for you. You'll miss all the fun. Um, but yeah, the thing about Paul, I was going to write a sequel to The Crimson Thread, and I was definitely going to talk about. There's a character in my book, in The Crimson Thread. There's a character by the name of Rayu. He's one of the antagonists. He's actually a spy for the Herodians and Caiaphas, the high priest, and he is a blueprint for Paul. He's a blueprint for Paul. And so I was going to write that about Paul later, but I never got around to it. I mean, it wasn't a the Crimson Thread wasn't a bestseller book anyway, and I knew it wouldn't be. When I submitted the movie, which was just a rough, they call it a rough. When I submitted the movie to this uh, film festival, it was at first accepted, but then when they saw what it was about, they said it was anti-Semitic, so they rejected it. The higher ups, it's not anti-Semitic, but it just goes against the control mechanism of the powers that be. As a matter of fact, I think I mentioned it once. Uh, I knew a an accountant for the entertainment industry in California, in Burbank in particular, and in Hollywood, and and he knew a Italian movie producer director, a big name, and got me in touch with him and had me send him a copy of my book. They wanted to make a big production of my book, The Crimson Thread, and the sequels. It, they wanted that. But I think I told you all some time back that they made a caveat, they made a condition. Believe it or not, but listen to this. The condition was they would do the movie. I would make millions of dollars, but I had to make Mary Magdalene a cross dresser. No kidding. That was the stipulation. I had to make Mary Magdalene a cross dresser. I said no. I'm not doing it. Oh boy. Let's see whatever's going on here. All right. Yeah, Roosevelt. Yeah, I had to make Mary Magdalene a cross dresser for them to make the movie out of my book. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Unsubscribe from this nut job. I suggest you all do the same. Seek the Lord Jesus Christ. Pray for Bye. You're a truther? Man, I think you misnamed yourself. Bye. If your faith can't sustain, a cross examination, if your faith cannot stand a cross examination, you're not very stable. You're on sandy soil, not a rocky ground, not on a stable ground. Jesus would have a lot of fun with him. So Mrs. Cat deleted him. Well, thank you, Miss Cat. I appreciate it. I know I'm hard to do. A lot of you people stick with me, but maybe you only do it. Uh, I don't know why you do it, but no, I'm not a traditionalist, and I've explained to people if I had to categorize myself, and I don't like to do that, but if I had to categorize myself, it would be as a Jamesian Christian. Absolutely, it would be. Yeah, no question about it. Okay, let's see. Vax is poison. Yeah. Okay. What happened today that Roy feels is awful? I didn't know how else to name the title of the live stream, trying to give the big picture without saying something that would get me thrown off, like I probably just did, talking about the V's. Um, what's awful is that it's all coming down. We've been set up over a number of decades, actually for longer than that. You've sent your children off to fight wars that supposedly would guarantee your liberty in the future, and they've sold it. They've betrayed you, and you know who I'm talking about. And it's getting worse by the day. Like I said, a few states seem to be kind of backing away from some of this nonsense, but the first real um, hit, and they'll probably go back. The people need to stand up. The people as a whole need to stand up. I love Patriot Nurse, for instance. There's a woman that knows what she's talking about. And she knows Hebrew better than I do by a long shot. She speaks it fluently. I don't even do that. Used to be pretty good at it, but I haven't been in practice for a long time. I like my Spanish. I had to learn Spanish when I went on a military intelligence assignment to South America, and I had to self-teach myself within 3 weeks. Um, Boy, that was a deal. I could speak pretty good fluent Spanish for a while, but if you don't use it, you lose it. What do you mean about James and inscription, Roy? What you mean about James inscription? No, I'm saying that I'm a Jamesian Christian, not inscription. In other words, I'm not Catholic. I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I'm not Protestant. I'm not Episcopalian. I'm not Mormon, etc., etc. If I were to label myself, I'm a Jamesian Christian. In other words, James was the brother of Jesus, who is in the book of James in the New Testament. I would be a, I would consider myself a Christian after his fashion. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Lord is no pacifist. Absolutely. Ralph Ellis. Can't say that I have. It's not ringing any bells. DC knock. Yeah, not ringing any bells. What was that? Well, why would that be? Ammon has a warrant for his arrest as per Ammon about an hour ago. What on earth for? See what I mean? The system is so corrupt. They're going to destroy everything. That's why I labeled this. This is an awful thing that's going on. They're going to destroy everything. And if people that can't see it are blind, either because they want to be or because they're just uninformed. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Uh, I'll try to find out why. It's probably another failure to appear or something like that, most likely. They've just beat him up so much. The system is so corrupt. They should be protecting Ammon in his rights, not doing this. Look at those police up there blocking off that Canadian church and then going after that other pastor with the people going to the church, and then they're coming, the 200 riot police. No, this is all evil, all of it. And that's why I named this live stream what I did. Yeah, a lot of them are just willfully ignorant. I agree. Spirit physical, I know. What? No, 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 no. Please check Ralph Ellis' YouTube channel. He says Jesus' dad was his brother. No, no. I can tell you historically that's not true. Okay? That's not true. Sorry, it's just not true. Matt Gates, yeah, I know. Hey, Hal, I've seen you for quite a long time. Um, yeah, I know. Why are you still here texting? I guess you're talking to somebody else. Oh, you're talking about Trump. Yeah, good. Thanks, Roosevelt. Yeah, Bundy, Ammon, the whole Bundy family are great people. I met all of them. They're great people, but they've been under so much pressure because the federal government wants to. I said back in 2014 at Bundy Ranch that this is a war on the food supply. What's Bill Gates doing now? Wants you to eat artificial meat. The Schwab wants you to eat insects, drink sewer water, eat grass. It was an attack on the food supply. It's one of the things you do when you want to. It's a siege deal. You take over the food supply. You cut down the available way to make food, and it's a type of siege warfare. And I called it in 2014 at the Bundy Ranch, just like I called the border that it was an insurrection, an insurgency, and that we needed the military on the border in 2011. That's why they wouldn't run my documentary that I made, which you can see here. Again, borders, Mexican drug war or insurgency. None of the networks would take it because it was politically incorrect. Think what it would be like now. Yeah, that's thank you, Tango Liberty. Lavoy Finicum's book, Only by Blood and Struggle. Yeah, I knew Lavoy too. Yeah, I did. All right. Hey, we've been going for 50 minutes. I just wanted to check in with everybody so that you would know that, I almost done with this. It's been labor intensive as I knew it would be. You can tell my voice is starting to get a little raspy already, just from talking here. Thank you for saying that, Good Shepherd. Yes, God bless Ammon Bundy. Yes, yeah, yeah. He's one of the good guys. Okay. Yeah, there's no place to run. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go. I'm going to go ahead and see if number 12 is getting ready to go up. If it is, it'll be published on YouTube here in just a few minutes. And I plan on doing chapters 13 and 14 tomorrow. Then you guys will have a week. I'll also put up, as I've been told, that the website that has the manuscript on it is ready. I will post the link to that also tomorrow when I put up yeah, 14 is the last chapter. Yeah, it is. And so I'm going to do 12 is going up now. 13 and 14 I will read tomorrow. I will record tomorrow, and they will be up by tomorrow night. Okay? Thanks for everything, everybody. I'm going to go and look forward to talking to you. Hopefully, we'll be able to, go back and forth on some particulars here. I'll answer your questions if you want to read the material that's going up, both on the audio on YouTube and the manuscript on the website when you get it. I'm an open book. We can talk about any subject matter that I cover in the Crimson Thread. Nancy, how you doing? Headlines with the Voices here. Hi, Nancy. Always happy to see you. So we can talk about any of those things. Just be aware that my reticence to use the divine names isn't because I want to keep something from you, okay? It's because you just don't do that. Okay, you talk about using the name of God in vain. People get upset when you say God damn. Well, that's not using God's name in vain, okay? Because that's not his name, all right? You have to know what his name is in order to use it in vain, okay? And that's not it. That's kind of like saying the office of the president. So he has specific names, and I will not, and I've said some of them before. For instance, when he was talking to Moses, right? Moses said, "Well, what's your name?" The Hebrews, they got to know, that they're actually dealing with somebody, not some ethereal weird thing that's unseeable and unknowable. And God said, "Okay, I can respect that. Yeah, I exist. I am that I am." Right? I share. Yeah, which really means when you translate it, I will be whom I will be. In other words, I'll be who I choose to be. Wow, that opens up a lot of things. And I talked about it. I kind of gave you a little insight before about why God shoved Moses into the cleft of the rock when he passed by so that Moses couldn't see his face. And then after he passed him, he took his hand off of him so Moses could see his back parts. And God said, I have to do that to you if I'm going to show you my glory, because if you see my face, you will die. Well, there's a reason for that. Okay? And it's not that, it's not, I mean, it's a lot different than you may think, but it has to do with one of the names of God. Okay? All right. I'm going to get out of here and go see if number 12 is going up. Again, we'll have number 13 and 14 up by tomorrow night. And then we'll talk about, whatever subject matter you want. You might say, Roy, you're saying Jesus was married. Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, we can't have that. He can't, that can't be, it can't be. No, it had to be. If you really understand uh, what was going on with Jesus, what his whole deal really was. Um, there are arguments as to why he shouldn't be or couldn't be, uh, but they really don't hold water when you look at. Okay, I will, Roosevelt. Thank you. When you look at what he was about, he could not allow. Um, the only possible exception would be that he would not would have wanted to replicate the DNA of the serpent or take any chance of that. But that's kind of why the crucifixion took place. So we can talk about all that. All right. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody now, and we'll talk to you later. A lot of things in the I told you who I identify as the sons of thunder. Yahweh is the God of thunder, the storm God, and that's why the sons of thunder, the sons of Zebedee, are mentioned in the New Testament and who they really are. Okay, all right, everybody. I'm just blabbering away now. We'll talk to you all later. Take care. Roosevelt, I'll check my DMs. All right, thanks. Bye.